Ukrainian reconnaissance drones rise into the air like hunters at dawn, scanning for movement. Moments later, the operators unleash their FPV strike craft, guiding them with steady hands through broken streets and collapsing rooftops. On the ground, Russian soldiers try to cling to whatever cover is left. A Russian soldier, desperate and disoriented, crawls into an outdoor toilet, one of those old wooden shacks barely standing upright. Maybe he thought it was a safe place to hide. Maybe he truly had to relieve himself. Only he knows. But the drone pilot watching the whole scene doesn't hesitate for a new hiding spot, but the drone overhead is already talking to another operator. Another FPV unit drops low. The Ukrainian operator lines up the shot. A second drone arrives only moments later, slamming into the same target. Then a third for good measure, one last hit to make sure the job is done. A few houses away, Ukrainian scouts find something odd, an abandoned home, and in the front room, anti-tank mines, TM-62s. The drone operator doesn't waste a second. His FPV races into the open doorway. Well, what used to be a doorway. The place barely has a curtain covering it. The drone dives straight into the interior and detonates. The explosion tears through everything. The building was a makeshift ammunition dump, and the hit sets off secondary blasts. The Russian troops panic. They scatter across yards, alleyways, and trenches, moving in every direction they can think of. But exposing themselves only gives the drone pilots more targets. In seconds, more FPVs appear overhead, carving through the sky. A motorized infantry detachment is sent in to support the retreating troops, but they drive right into a trap. Ukrainian FPV operators coordinate with artillery spotters, and when the convoy enters the kill zone, the sky erupts. Shells hammer the column. Drone footage captures the chaos. Vehicles spinning, riders abandoning their motorcycles, explosions cutting off the road behind them. The advance dies in a curtain of fire. The assault is over before it truly begins. Ukrainian operators stay relentless. For every vehicle the Russians try to recover, another drone sweeps in to finish the job. A hit to the fuel tank sends one armored vehicle erupting into flames, lighting up the battlefield like a torch. And when two Russian soldiers sprint across open ground, one of them tries shooting at the drone chasing him. It's pointless. The FPV closes in, hits hard, and the assault ends in seconds. This village, this small, scarred settlement, is the place they've been fighting over for days. Some mornings it's under Ukrainian control. By evening, the Russians edge forward, only to lose ground again at night. Streets turn into trenches. Houses change hands like poker chips. Every shed, attic, and basement becomes a battleground. On one side of the village, the smoke from the last firefight still hangs. On the other side, bursts of small arms fire echo through empty homes. No one truly controls the village. Control lasts as long as the next assault cycle. Every meter of ground costs blood. Russian forces continued drilling urban assaults at training grounds and in real battles, refining their street-to-street tactics. Their main advantage is armor. Tanks, IFVs, and APCs support their infantry with covering fire, smashing defensive positions from afar. It's brute force warfare. But Ukrainian commanders learned something important. Sometimes, the only way to stop an assault is by letting it happen. Once Russian troops push into certain structures, Ukrainian engineers can detonate entire buildings.
Терминал торнадо в укрытии. темпі, в темпі, в темпі. Все, всі ваші. Нате вам.
turning them into piles of shattered stone and dust. The
Получайте.
explosions strip
Гів,
away
сработали на
cover, leaving
п'ятерочку,
attackers
сработали на
completely
п'ятерочку.
exposed.
Здання зачищено. Що ми будемо закріплятися тут?
Плюс. Молодці, закріпляйтесь. Здання зачищено.
Наші хлопці знаходяться на позиціях, отримують місто, знищують ворога.
And still, Russian command keeps pushing armor forward. More vehicles, more infantry, more attempts to break through. An IFV rolls into the village, firing wildly as it advances. Other armored vehicles move beside it like a pack hunting together. They push deep into the settlement and finally stop to unload their soldiers. A Ukrainian drone pilot counts them, 11 men stepping out, gearing up for a storming action. The information is instantly relayed to defenders waiting nearby.
The infantry takes
The Russian infantry hides in abandoned houses, trying to stay out of drone view. Some of them joke around inside homes that once belonged to families, filming goofy videos on their phones. Dark humor in the middle of chaos.
Давай проверим. Кого дома нет? Дома нет.
One clip even makes the Ukrainian operator laugh. But the Ukrainians are already preparing for the next wave of armor rolling toward the village. A Russian tank approaches a small water crossing. Ukrainian spotters decide to destroy the crossing so the tank can't pass. Forced to detour around the pond, the tank exposes its side, and that's all the FPV operator needs. The kamikaze drone slams into the tank, damaging it enough to require repairs. Russian forces attempt to pull the tank back for recovery. Before they can, Ukrainian drone teams send more FPVs, determined to finish the job. More Russian infantry arrives on tracked vehicles. They dismount and duck into a small house that looks like it could collapse from a strong breeze. One Ukrainian drone proves exactly that. It hits the structure and brings it down on top of them. That's when Ukrainian heavy artillery steps in. Guided by drones overhead, the gunners fire with precision. A shell loads, the breech snaps shut, the shot thunders out, and the targeted house disappears into a cloud of debris. No one inside survives. Above, Ukrainian aircraft streak across the village, climbing and diving as they release heavy bombs. Each impact sends shockwaves through streets already cracked and broken from months of fighting. The village becomes a maze of fire and drifting smoke. Ukrainian command makes a decision. Now. Counterattack. The assault groups assemble. Every fighter gets their task, checks their gear, breathes deep. They know the risks. They know how many Russian drones are watching, but not a single soldier steps away. The first fighting vehicle rolls out, engines growling. Every passing second feels stretched, like time is slowing down. The troops dismount and begin the push forward. Another vehicle follows, but is immediately swarmed by FPV drones. Three miss. A fourth slams into it, filling the cockpit with sparks and smoke. Somehow the vehicle keeps going and makes it to the infantry. But the Russians have numbers on their side. Wave after wave of them push back, and Ukrainian troops risk being overrun. To prevent the enemy from fortifying future positions, Ukrainians toss explosives into the houses the Russians might use as cover. A Russian drone operator launches his own FPV. It hits a Ukrainian vehicle, but only causes minor damage. A second strike hits the rear and disables it completely. The infantry is rattled, concussed. They jump out and run, trying to survive long enough for evacuation. Russian drones appear again, finishing off the immobile vehicle. The Ukrainian soldiers sprint across open ground, fully aware that Russian eyes are on them. A homemade Russian air-dropped device carrying a TM-62 mine floats overhead, something rarely seen. The Ukrainians know the Russians have their exact location now. Their only chance is an evacuation vehicle. Which thankfully arrives quickly. They pile in and escape. Nearby, a Ukrainian tank spots a Russian turtle tank, a heavily armored machine bristling with welded plates. The Ukrainian tank tries to cover the retreating vehicle full of wounded soldiers, but falls behind. Even so, the rescue succeeds. The Ukrainian tank fires one precise round, then drops smoke and maneuvers out. Fighting that turtle tank directly would have been suicide, especially on ground where Russian FPV drones circle like vultures. The battlefield settles for only a moment, just long enough for the smoke to drift and the dust to settle. And then the next wave begins. Russian forces, frustrated by repeated failures, escalate their efforts. More infantry, more armored vehicles, more attempts to break through the Ukrainian line in this tiny village that somehow became the center of a grinding storm.